Greetings and welcome, colonists, to another episode of Let's Do a Level of Outpost 2 Divided Destiny, Plymouth Mission 11. Raid. The piece of the starship wreckage numbered 58 didn't look like much. It was a flattened and scorched rectangle of metal with some bits of tubing and wire coming out. It was small enough and light enough for one person to comfortably hold. According to Frost, piece 58 was a thruster assembly, though you wouldn't have been able to prove it by Emma. To her, it was just another twisted piece of metal. Equally mysterious was why it was of such intense interest to Frost, and why it was soon of equal interest to her 4 rogue scientists. Eden was clearly working in areas of spacecraft propulsion that left Plymouth literally in the dust, and Frost seemed to be working at a level beyond that. Emma gave up trying to understand it all, secluded herself in her quarters, and devoted her original team exclusively to planning the rescue of Eden's children. It was a small part of a much larger operation. The final military assault on Eden to steal their remaining starship technology and, most importantly, their reusable launch vehicle. Plymouth's efforts to develop RLV were still in the early stages, and it was apparent they didn't have any hope of finishing in time. Taking the RLV was a top military priority, and the key to successfully taking the starship. Plymouth was almost frantic with activity preparing for the assault. The vehicle factory was working non-stop to produce combat and support units for the mission. These units were being stockpiled in garages and under camouflage netting modeled after Eden's own to protect them from the watchful eyes of Eden satellites. As much as possible, the raid had to be a surprise attack to be successful. All the while, Emma was preparing her own, much different convoy. At its heart was a pair of specially equipped evacuation transports. The ETs had been retrofitted with light armor and stripped of most of their interior furnishing and equipment to increase speed. Emma had even considered the possibility, inspired by Axon's modified units, of adding a pair of beam rifles from Scorpion units. Concerned that adding the weapons would make the vehicles more of a target, she banned the idea. She hoped that, at least once the children were on board, Eden would refrain from firing on the units, but she wasn't counting on it. The plan was to let other units run interference, let them take the hits, and get the ETs in and out as fast as possible. Emma leaned back in her bunk and studied the satellite photos of Eden, memorizing every detail of its layout, planning every move in advance. She'd been at it for 20 hours now, keeping in touch with her team by comlink. She looked at chrono on her wristlink. 12 hours till departure. She wondered if she'd be able to force herself to get a few hours sleep before they left. Her door chimed. She used her wrist link to release the lock. Come on in. It was Jensen, looking a little sheepish. She pointed him towards a minimally cluttered chair. He moved aside a rock hammer and a dirty shirt and sat down. How's the work going? She asked. Anything to report? The corner of his mouth twisted up a little. Actually, that's why I came to see you. Propulsion isn't really my area, it's remote sensing and communication. She put down her clip-on. Is there another project you'd feel more effective working on? He ducked his head slightly and bobbed his chin yes. I'd like to go to Eden with you. She sat up in her bunk and leaned forward on her knees. What? Why? I know what you said about us not being soldiers, and that's true enough. But you could use someone with recent knowledge of Eden's interior layout. That would be me. She considered this for a bit. Okay, I'm willing to hear your case. Of course, Fnatia and the Resistance are supposed to be helping us from the inside. I'm sure they will, if everything goes as planned, but it could be held up somehow, or we could be separated inside the colony. It would be to your advantage to have someone with you who could act as a guide. That's why you'd be useful. But why do you want to go? He pondered this momentarily. As I said, I'm not feeling especially useful here now that the projects have moved beyond my limited expertise. I came to Plymouth against my better judgment and... He spread his hands, seemingly to have trouble putting it into words. I want to make a difference. I never had kids of my own, though I would have wanted to if things had happened differently. He hesitated. The project is in trouble. Frost has offered some remarkable insights into analyzing the thruster, but everything we've learned is on a theoretical level. He could be months, years from any practical application. Our only hope is Dr. Landis, and she has a son left in Eden. There was no way to bring him when we escaped, and she's worried sick about him. She is the best propulsion scientist Eden ever turned out. The best way I can help the effort is to help her. Emma nodded. I understand. That's commendable. She reached out and offered her hand. Welcome to the team, Jensen. He took her hand and shook it enthusiastically. Emma picked up another clip-com out of the clutter and pulled up a file in it. Then she handed it over to Jensen. Here's the mission briefing. Read it, memorize it, and get some sleep if you can. She pressed her lips tightly together. Tomorrow, we go to war. Brooke Bernati waved the forged security pass at the black uniformed volunteer guard, who verified it using her wrist link. She looked up at him, as though memorizing his face, then gestured him on with a wave of her upward-pointed rifle barrel. He shuffled past her and down the tunnel towards the next checkpoint. This place is a police state, and it gets worse every day. I wonder if Axon's gulag could have been as bad as this. It was a silly thought and he knew it. These things could and would get worse. Echo Vendozi was the engine behind Eden's downfall. Echo's ego and her mania knew no bounds. He was sure of that. If it were not for the twisted affection she seemed to feel for him, he'd have been imprisoned long ago. As it was, she treated him like a naughty but amusing pet. Allowed to get him into trouble, but only so much. Brooke was very, very tired of it. Today, one way or another, it all ended. He was almost to the last checkpoint before the nursery when disaster alarm started to sound. Everywhere, rotating lights flashed combat red. The attack had begun. The two guards at the checkpoint immediately received dispatch messages from the wrist link. Ignoring Brooke, they jumped onto their scooters and roared off down the tunnel leading back to the residence complex. Brooke glanced at his tonal display. He had less than 2 minutes. He began to jog down the tunnel. Above him, an Earthworker unit under Kraft's control would be stopping over the tunnel right now and deploying a huge auger drill. He reached the emergency suit locker and slipped inside. The door sealed shut behind him and would protect him until he got his suit on. He was putting the boots on when the auger cut through the tunnel ceiling with a crash, sending a man-sized chunk of rock falling to the floor a few meters away. As air exploded out through the hole, the drill withdrew, and another tool, a mechanical hammer, began to knock away the slabs of the roof of the tunnel, collapsing it one piece at a time. Brooke sealed the helmet and cycled himself out of the pressurized locker. He ran toward the nursery, wondering if the children were in their rescue balls yet. Emma could see the fierce fighting beyond the next line of buildings. Fireballs and clouds of corrosive mist rose over the rooftops as Plymouth units fought their way towards Eden's spaceport. So far her convoy had encountered only little resistance. They'd lost a Spider already and a few of their combat units had taken hits, but they'd also managed to immobilize 2 Eden Panthers with EMP and reprogram them using the Spiders, which more than made up for the loss. The convoy steered past a row of acrodomes towards the nursery, refraining from making any attacks on the buildings that would draw attention to them. In and out, that's our motto. They rounded the corner and Emma spotted the Earthworker unit, just where it should be, chipping away at the roof of a tunnel. They pulled the ETs into next to the opening to wait when the combat units circled them like nervous mother hens. Brooke stood outside the nursery's emergency airlock, glancing impatiently at his chrono as the cargo cart pulled up on the ramp in front of him. Jix Oltion jumped out of the driver's seat and trotted over to him. "You're late," said Brooke. "Tunnel 6 is closed off. You should tell your friends to be careful when they shoot their missiles." Brooke quickly checked his stake-side cargo cart. Its bed had still a trace of soil and dried vegetation from the acrodome where Jix worked. It looked big enough for their purposes. "Good enough," he said. "Let's get the kids." They cycled through the lock into the nursery. The teacher robots were whirring around, shooting the last of the children into their pressurized rescue balls. There were 2 women and a man there, already dressed in spacesuits, who Brooke didn't recognize. This was no surprise, as he was expecting help from another resistance cell. He held up his index finger as a signal. The 3 put their index fingers together in a countersign. There were quick nods of greeting, but no names were exchanged. There's a cargo cart at the top of the ramp. Let's get the kids loaded and out of here. They started hoisting rescue balls over their shoulders by their carry straps and hauling them towards the lock. Most of the children visible inside the clear surface of their rescue ball seemed calm enough. They'd all been through hundreds of disaster drills, and it was almost a game to them. The fear, the upset, the loss would all come later. Brooke jammed a hacked override key into each robot of the robot teachers and set them to helping with the move. They'd bring the robots with them, if possible, to give the kids at least something familiar to hold on to. Emma had grown impatient waiting for Bonatti, and she and Jensen had climbed into the hall to look for them. The rubble came to a peak in the middle of the opening, forming a steep but climbable ramp to the tunnel floor below. She and Jensen crouched at the top of the rubble, ducking their heads to peer down the empty tunnel. That's the way to the nursery? Without a doubt. We stood and pointed to the fortifications ahead of them on the surface. You can just see it sticking up behind those walls. The fortifications had been a primary reason for their indirect rescue point. Now Emma was having second thoughts. They could have blasted through the walls rather than being stuck here like sitting ducks. Bit of rubble tumbled down the pile. Jensen looked at her. Do you feel that? What? More rubble slid down the pile in a cascade. Emma was suddenly aware of a vibration in the ground. Quake? Then the nearest ET exploded in a ball of fire as she spotted the approaching Eden Tigers. She yelled into the radio, "Get the convoy out of here!" Then a slab of rubble gave way beneath them and she and Jensen tumbled down into the tunnel below. The Eden repair vehicle rolled at its best possible speed towards the smoking structure factory, its limited intelligence plotting a course across irregular ground. Then a new command came in from the robot command center. The vehicle slowed, turned about, and headed back towards the RCC itself. It took only a few minutes to reach the structure, which was well away from the fighting and showed no signs of damage. Nonetheless, the unit's new programming had to be obeyed. It deployed its robot manipulator arms and cutting torches, and began to slice away sections of the building's skin, peeling it like an onion, and throwing the removed pieces aside without caution. Gas exploded into the thin atmosphere as the pressure hull ruptured, but the unit ignored it, mindlessly widening the breach. The program drove it relentlessly on. Something had to be removed from the RCC, and the repair vehicle would not stop until it had done so. Jix ran down the ramp from the nursery's upper level. There are Eden tanks coming in. The rescue convoy is pulling back. Frag it! Brooke watched as the teacher robots scooped up the last of the rescue balls and headed out. With the tunnel blocked, observed Altion, you can only go out towards the agridomes. Maybe we can get the kids out that way. Brooke nodded. It's worth a shot, but I don't know how the rescue convoy is going to find us all the way over there. He shrugged. We'll worry about that later. He and Jix followed the robots out through the lock. They jumped into the seats of the cargo cart, while the others grabbed scooters. Emma followed Jensen down a dark, narrow utility tunnel. If I remember this properly, he said, this will take us around the blockage and come out somewhere along Agrodome Row. We can backtrack to the nursery from there. If we need to, said Emma. What do you mean? They'll be looking for another way out. If I were them, I'd head for the Agridomes. Jensen nodded. You could be right. They reached a junction with another, slightly wider utility tunnel. Jensen stopped and looked in both directions. I don't remember this. Emma frowned at him. Are you sure you know where you're going? There were 5 agridomes in a row. Jix stopped at the second one. This is where I work. I have all the access keys. We may need them before we're through. They cycled the cart in through a big cargo lock and drove directly into the dome. Greenery was everywhere, the crops in full production. Planter boxes full of soil alternated the rows of long hydroponic trays under transparent ceilings. Water pumped from a large open cistern in the middle of the dome and into irrigation pipes and sprinklers. An emergency pressure release pipe ran from the valve over the tank and straight up through the roof. Luke studied the pipe. I think I know a way to single the convoy. Think you can find some hose or flexible conduit that'll fit over the valve? Jix nodded. Then get it. Jix disappeared and returned a few minutes later with a piece of flexible ductwork just large enough to fit over the valve. Brooke inspected the end of it and attempted to crush it between his palms. He was unable to do so. I hope this will work. He jammed one end over the valve and sealed it with a roll of tape that Jix found in the cart's toolbox. Then he dropped the other end in the cistern. He turned back to Jix. Find the control panel and use your override codes to open this valve. Jix followed the pipe up through the ceiling with his eyes, then looked sadly around at the plants. I hate this, you know. But he did as Brooke instructed. There was a panel on the support pillar a few meters away. Jix punched in the codes. Ready, he said. Brooke nodded and Jix opened the valve. For a moment nothing happened, then water level in the system began to drop. The vent pipe moaned and rumbled as the inside air pressure forced the liquid up through the ceiling. The top of the pipe suddenly turned into a fountain, water streaming down the outside of the windows. The aquarium was spouting like a whale. Just then something clanked beneath their feet. Jix jumped at the sound. Somebody's coming! A floor access panel flipped open suddenly and it clanged against stops. An armored gun-toting figure climbed out of the opening, followed quickly by another. They strode toward Brooke rapidly. The one in the lead thrust out a hand at him. Emma smiled at him through the visor of a combat suit. Mr. Panatti, I presume? As the convoy made its way past the collapsed tunnel, their precious cargo safety in the remaining ET, they could see the RLV climbing into the sky on their tail fire. I hope it's under our control, said Emma. Jensen was looking in another direction. Incoming Eden unit! Frack, said Emma as she followed his gaze to the approaching robot. Fortunately, it was only the repair vehicle. One of the EMP units fired and it rolled to a stop. Emma leaned forward, not believing her eyes. The Savant computer was clutched in one of its manipulator arms. Get a spider over there, fast! Let's capture this thing. She studied the featureless cube of the Savant and was somehow sure it was Kraft. It escaped! Kraft programmed the repair vehicle to come and get it, and it escaped! She turned to Jensen. When the repair vehicle comes back online, plot an indirect course in the computer, taking it to the resistance base. We'll send Axon a little present. We'll just see what he thinks about his computer's behavior now. Yes, that would indeed be interesting. Too bad we'll never see it. Alright, let's get into the mission proper. Commander, our Eden guests have been convinced to contribute their efforts to our cause. Still, it may not be enough. Our council has made an offer to Eden to exchange our gene bank for more of their starship technology. They have not replied. Information from the Eden scientists indicates that New Terra does not have enough uncontaminated resources left to complete 2 starships. We expect Eden to make a rescue attempt, or perhaps attempt to steal our gene bank and halt our starship progress. These assets must be protected. We must also launch more starship components into orbit and protect our labs and spaceport. Our latest weapon system, inspired by a chapter of Earth history, may help our defenses against Eden's advanced weaponry. These new weapons are powerful self-destruct turrets. They will destroy any lightly armored vehicle near them and do great damage to even heavily armored units. But obviously they can only be used one time for each unit. A high return for a high price. New defensive weapons projects have been proposed by our scientists as well. Explore as many of these as you can while balancing the other needs of our colony. Our starship program must stay on schedule. Consult the specific objectives list for what we must do to survive. Well, that doesn't seem like much. Alright. Let's begin. Right, which monkey built this base this time? Do we have enough food to start with? No, of course we don't. Where's the structure facility? Please tell me you have a... No, of course you don't. Acrodome.
Food production in surplus.
Oh, is it now? Only just.
Structure kit manufactured.
Right,
levels optimal.
Any research? Extended range projectile, absolutely. Where's the other... where are you hiding?
Morale is good.
Have I only got the advanced lab? Seriously? Alright, let's see. We have regular. Why is there never anything close by? Alright, we have a triple threat over there. But we have no mining beacons. And we have one. Alright, let's claim this one for Plymouth.
Morale is excellent.
Oh, great. Alright.
Mission control.
I can only build an SULV, that's not really gonna help me. Houses are a little bit overpopulated. Alright, let's get some extra stuff going. And let's also get a standard lab. I'm not sure there's anything still left to research, but I'm gonna assume that there is. Really wish there was a closer vein, but yeah, no.
Morale is good.
I don't think I can afford to build a base up here. Especially not if this volcano is going to erupt. We've been given very sparse defenses over here.
Structure kit manufactured. Structure completed.
Alright, let's set our miners to work.
Food production in surplus.
Alright, that should keep us safe for a good long while.
Power levels optimal. Morale is fair.
And I might as well get an extra residence. A reinforced one that will not blow up easily. Right.
Structure kit manufactured. Research completed.
I stand, however, by my monkey's decision thing, because with the Edward satellite we know exactly where the deposits are. So why bother putting them all the way out there?
Morale is poor.
Fine. I'll use this one. Still not happy about it though. We'll see about if this one is a little bit more defensible. Right, let's get another convac to actually do something.
Completed.
Alright. Let's get the grenade loading mechanism so we can get a faster firing rate on our weapons. I'm really going defensive on this one. No vehicles in here. Why do we still have a surveyor? There's absolutely no point in having a surveyor.
Structure completed.
Right. Let's get a dozer going. And I really need some restoration because these people are gonna get unhappy fast.
Ready.
Alright, we are almost at the cap as well.
Our colony is under attack.
Well, that's bleeding
Food
close.
Production in surplus. Power levels optimal. We are under attack. Structure disabled.
Right. Let's get a little bit of an wall going then. Right, I'm gonna definitely need more metals.
Caution. Vortex watch initiated. Structure completed.
That's far away from here.
Structure disabled. Morale is poor.
Alright, let's get a highway down.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
Yeah, meteor detection, that's probably a good idea. Let's also get a few more scientists going. And
Research completed.
you're done. Let's
Warning.
get
Vortex
a...
detected.
Let's get a forum.
Structure disabled.
That should help. Alright, another dozer perhaps.
Structure kit
I mean, potentially
manufactured.
I could put a building over
Wall
here.
completed.
Command center.
Vehicle ready.
Right.
Morale is fair. Structure repaired.
We still have quite a lot of demand for stuff.
Food production in surplus.
Not much I can do about that.
Wall completed.
Right.
Power levels optimal. Morale is poor.
Right, let's get some more... Get an arachnid factory. Right. Advanced armoring systems. It should make my Lynxes and Panthers a little bit more useful in combat going forward.
Mission control.
Structure completed.
Right.
Structure kit manufactured. Morale is fair.
Right, how many scientists do I need? 32. I currently have 26. Right, let's turn the nursery off for now. Right. There's a little more happiness going with a... Where is it? Recreation facility. Maybe one more residents should do.
Food production in surplus.
Yeah, that'll
Structure kit manufactured.
be fine.
Power levels optimal.
Fortunately,
Wall
Eden is
completed.
being quiet at the moment,
Morale
so...
is poor. Structure disabled.
Where? Ah. Let's get another bunch of scientists.
Our colony is under attack. Research completed. We are under attack.
Well,
Research completed.
speak of the devil. Right, research. There's nothing here left. So let's go with
Wall
solar
completed.
power.
We are under attack. Our colony is under attack. Structure completed. Morale is fair. Structure disabled. Morale is poor.
Alright.
We are under attack. Vehicle destroyed. Spider ready. Our colony is under attack. Structure kit manufactured. Structure disabled. Food production in surplus.
Alright.
Power levels optimal.
I think I lost my dozer.
Wall completed.
Gone.
Mission control.
Structure disabled. Vehicle ready. Rocket ready. Research completed.
Alright.
Bulldozing completed.
Let's get started on the basics. I mean, I might as well set up another advanced lab to speed things along, and I don't need you, I think, so...
Morale is fair.
Mission control.
Structure repaired.
Right. Let's get some actual defenses going for up top.
Vehicle ready.
And that's fixed. Now the best counter I can come up with against the
morale is poor.
the Eden's tigers and all that is essentially to swarm it with scorpions.
In surplus. Power levels optimal.
Because granted, you'll lose a couple of scorpions in the process, of course. But that's way more cost effective than the losses the Eden incurs by deploying
structure completed. Our colony is under attack.
well, anything really.
Morale is fair.
Yeah, same attack pattern again.
We are
Here,
under
let's
attack.
just have you go there. I mean, it's just the rare metals. That's not so difficult to handle.
Morale is poor. Our colony is under attack. Structure disabled. We are under attack. Research completed. Structure completed. Vehicle destroyed. Structure disabled. We are under attack. Our colony is under attack. Structure destroyed.
Well, that's annoying.
Damage warning. Vehicle destroyed. Vehicle ready.
Now, converting those things might be useful, but
Power levels optimal.
let's not focus on things that I cannot really do anything about.
Mission control.
Alright, command module, please. Alright, that should satisfy the inhabitants' demands. Alright, I can turn the baby maker back on again.
Power levels marginal.
Alright, let's get a solar power array as well.
Morale is fair. Starship module manufactured. Rocket launched. Command module deployed. Structure kit manufactured.
Right.
Satellite manufactured.
Mission control.
Cannot comply. Rocket ready.
Alright. Let's get a few more cargo trucks in the mix. Because we will need them.
Structure completed. Caution. Seismic watch initiated. Vehicle ready.
Alright. Here. Here. Here.
Alert. Seismic event imminent. Structure completed. Structure disabled. Bulldozing completed. Food production in surplus.
Mission control.
Warning. Seismic event detected. Rocket launched. Solar power satellite deployed. Power levels optimal.
Oh, here comes the next wave.
We are under attack. Morale is fair.
Even being sneaky doesn't really do any good for them though.
Bulldozing completed.
Right. Right. Well, I'll have to put a cut in it here. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.